Hello there.
Next up, we'll
Today
be
we will be
comparing
going through the
how
topic
both
of
dictators
comparing
eliminated their
dictators in our
opposition.
history coursework. The two dictators that we will be comparing today are Robert Mugabe and Muammar Gaddafi. These two are rather famous dictators that both ruled during the late 20th century. Robert Mugabe is the president and ruling dictator in the country of Zimbabwe, which is a landlocked country in the south of Africa. Muammar Gaddafi was the ruling dictator of Libya until he died in 2011.
So, what makes a dictator? A dictator is a person with absolute power and has total control over the country. So, dictators use fear and power to control people. So, eliminate opposition, no freedom of press, abuse of human rights, secret police and purges, and also cult of personality.
Firstly, we will compare how both dictators rose to power. Gaddafi was the leader of Libya from 1969 to 2011. He deposed King Idris in a coup d'etat and ascended into power in 1969. Zimbabwe was colonized by the British until 1980. This was when they had a democratic election, which was won by Robert Mugabe and the ZANU party. Robert Mugabe was the leader of the ZANU party and was prime minister from 1980s to 1987. And he became the dictator from 1987 until the current day.
Next up, we'll be comparing how both dictators eliminated their opposition. Gaddafi killed King Idris' clan members and also publicly executed people who were openly against him. Whereas Mugabe killed his opposition when his power was threatened after losing the 2008 election to Morgan Tsvangirai.
Next up, we will be comparing how these dictators dealt with freedom of press. In Gaddafi's Libya, there was no freedom of press. Anyone who slandered Gaddafi's name would be either imprisoned or sentenced to death. There was also no internet access for citizens. In Mugabe's Zimbabwe, there was also no freedom of press, although the punishments that were faced were less severe.
Next up, we'll be comparing how both dictators sought to improve the standard of living in their country. Muammar Gaddafi tried to improve the standard of living in Libya. When he was a dictator, the literacy rate increased. There was also free healthcare and education, and many financial schemes to aid people. But people were still unhappy as the free healthcare was in a very bad standard. It can be seen that Robert Mugabe lowered the standard of living as healthcare system was poor, education system was also poor, and land of white farmers were taken away and given to black farmers.
Now we will compare how these dictators used secret police. Gaddafi had secret police just like all other dictators, and he used these to capture political prisoners who were both in Libya and out of Libya. Mugabe also had a secret police force, which was a central intelligence organization. It is led by Hapitan Bonyongwe, who reports directly to him instead of the defense minister of Zimbabwe.
Lastly, we will be comparing how the dictators use cult of personality. Gaddafi used cult of personality to be seen as a brother leader, and it can be seen that he was very successful as he stayed in power for 42 years. Cult of personality portrayed Mugabe as a leader who was trying to make Zimbabwe better through economic reforms and liberation. This is also successful as he still remains in power.
Now it is time for the conclusion to our video. By carefully examining what makes a dictator, we are able to come up with similarities and differences between Gaddafi and Mugabe. Robert Mugabe and Muammar Gaddafi are similar. They both eliminated political opposition, had no freedom of press in their countries, used secret police to kill political opponents, as well as had a cult of personality that made themselves look like good leaders. Robert Mugabe and Muammar Gaddafi are different in the way that they got elected into power. Muammar Gaddafi got in there violently and Robert Mugabe was democratically elected. Also, they are different in the way that they increased their country's standard of living, as in Gaddafi increased it while Mugabe made it decrease. We have come to the end of our video. Thank you for your attention.
Created using Powtoon.